So what am I working on today? This is an old duplex from the 20s, and I've done almost all of the floors in this house. Now the customer, he pulled up the subfloor in the kitchen and found some pretty good hardwood floors underneath there. Well, I think I'm just the right guy for the job. Let's go take a look. So this is what we're working on today. We've already taken off the top layers of tear out. Sorry, that's not going to be in this video. I'm just going to be working on showing you how we're going to take care of the sanding on this thing. And in case you're wondering, a lot of times we'll see these floors that have like some of this gray felt, and some people will have concerns that they have asbestos in them. Well, we did get it checked out and it's clean. It doesn't have any asbestos in it, so I feel like I shouldn't be vlogging today because I don't sound good. Hello. Too bad, I'm gonna do it anyway. Now the first thing I'm thinking about when I see this is, with this much glue, I am tempted to get in here with the edger and a 16 grit disc and just edge the whole thing for the first sanding. But that's gonna leave a lot of 16 grit marks, and that's gonna be kind of hard to sand out, so. But in this one, instead of starting with the edger, I'm actually gonna start with a drum sander with 24 grit paper. I could totally use 20 grit, that would work great too. But I'll probably try doing a 24 grit twice. I'll probably hit it once, kind of medium slow, get the glue mostly knocked off, then I'll flip it around and do another slower sanding with the 24. Well, look at that. We actually were able to get almost all of this down to bare wood with just the one 24 grit sanding. Next stop, edging with this bad boy, 16 grit. This is what it's gonna look like after that first 24 grit drum sanding and a 16 grit sanding on the edges. Not bad. We're sitting pretty good for doing that medium sanding. There's an extra little tip that I need to throw in here, and this is a good tip to help you do a better job of just being more consistent when you're sanding on the medium sandings. Now, we didn't need to write anything down to tell us where we were sanding that first one because there's old finish there. We can see where the old finish is, we can see where the sanded wood is, but now look at it. It's pretty even, so if I'm sanding that medium sanding, I want to make sure and gently overlap in just the right place. What's a good idea is I take my carpenter pencil and I draw some lines in there. And the good thing about the carpenter pencil, it's really not going to damage the wood like a pen would. Definitely don't want to use a Sharpie. I did that by accident once. But putting a line down with the pencil is going to give you a perfect way to indicate where you've sanded and where you haven't. So I think it works pretty well. Let's take a look. Hi. Bet you weren't expecting me to lay my head on the floor today. When I'm doing this next sanding, basically I'm going to be coming back to around here. So I'll just take and draw some squiggles about a foot on either side of where I'm going to stop sanding, so that when I come back around, I'll see that pencil mark. I know about where I'm going to be pulling up so I don't overlap too much or come up short. Okay, that's enough laying on the floor. Let's go. And if you've made it this far, I've got to ask you to please consider subscribing, because I might actually get good at this, and you're going to want to see what it looks like when that ever happens. And comment and tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. I don't care about the bell. I mean, ring it if you want, but pretty please subscribe. Thanks. Well, it's filler time. Again, all this medium sanding's done, the medium drum sanding, the medium edging. It's time to fill this bugger. If you've seen any of my videos, you know the drill. Get some good quality, fast drying red oak filler, 3-inch putty knife for the edges, 10-inch trowel for the middle of the floor, and let it dry for a minimum of 1 to 2 hours before you sand it. I'm doing it at the end of the day today, so that works out nice. It'll dry overnight. It'll be plenty dry by tomorrow morning. Looks like I've been working for a living today. There we go. Yes. All right. So the last thing we did was do the final edging on this, and I used a 100 grit disc. On fir, fir's almost kind of like a wood that's a little bit gummy. So You could use 80 grit and you'd be okay. Maybe if you were doing a stain job, you might want to stick with 100 grit. Anyway, I always have 100, so that's what I used. After that final edging, took out the 1 3/4 inch Murphy scraper blade. These aren't easy to find in just regular stores. You're probably just gonna have to stick with whatever they have at the store if you're doing this yourself. A scraper like that and keep it sharpened. After that, I did the Vibe sanding. I keep some fresh 100 grit on this. This one's just gonna get a natural, I just used 2 pieces, that was fine. Mostly to mellow out some of those corners, merge the scraping in with the edging. And then after all that, break out the buffer with a 100 grit screen. This is a red heat, this is a nice one. You don't have to use the red heat, but it's just a super nice, reliable piece of equipment to use. Okay, it's not equipment, but you know what I'm saying. Now we're just gonna let that dust settle. That's why I'm standing out here. I'm letting that dust settle. I'm gonna go put some tools away. After the dust is settled, I'm gonna get on there with the vacuum, because I'm always vacuuming. I'm gonna vacuum it twice, because when I do a natural floor, I like to vacuum it twice. That just seems to be the way to go. If I'm doing a stain job, sometimes I'll vacuum it once. I'll do my stain work. Then when I come back to coat the stain, then I'll vacuum it the second time. So it still gets vacuumed twice if I'm doing a stain job, but just a little bit different combination of things. And to be specific when I vacuum, what I like to do is take the 10-inch brush off, and I just take the wand and go around the perimeter first, because there's a lot of dust that hides in those corners. So I take the perimeter first, then I vacuum the middle, then I vacuum my clothes off, then I hit the middle again, and then I finish up with one more perimeter vacuuming with just the wand. And that ends up with a pretty clean job. And after I vacuum this, we're gonna coat this thing up. It's gonna be awesome. Move on to the next messy job. Well, look at that. Got that thing coated up. I'm not mic'd up, am I? Got that thing coated up onto the next project. And then I'll come back and put the last coats on tomorrow morning. Woo! Last day at the Green Kitchen. Kind of excited about that. This one, since fur is a little soft, I'm putting 3 coats of Fast Dry on this one. That's gonna help it be a little bit more durable. Before I can do any of that coating though, I've gotta buff that floor off. I gotta buff it off carefully. I can't cut into that first coat at all, so I need to use something fine. This is what I always use. It's a 220 grit little buffing disc. I put these on my 16-inch buffer pad. Actually, I'm a little nutty about being careful about it, so I will actually put one new one on and one used one, and then I just keep rotating that out. This one, I didn't even switch them because it's such a small job. And if you look at some of the clips, you'll see me hand buffing the edges, and that's basically just one of these. You could just use one of these, but it's a little more thorough to take one of these, wrap it around, and hit it like that. Ooh, that's my initials right there, Ryan's Voice Service. You know, it's hard enough for me to do this because I am, getting a little older, and basically every bit of work I've ever done shows on my face. But then I have a cold today too, so that makes it even more challenging. Oh well. At least I have tons of confidence. So like usual, I'm gonna vacuum this floor twice before I do the first coat of the day. After I do those 2 vacuumings, I'll just take my wet towel, wring it out really well, and just do a nice final tacking down of the floor with the slightly damp towel. Then it's time for coating. Alrighty, got that last coat on. This particular Fast Dry finish probably take about 2 hours before people can walk on it. And I always say wait at least overnight to put any furniture on it. But either way, you want to be careful, as careful as you can during the first couple of hours, first half a day, first day. 2 days is even better, but nobody has time to wait for stuff, so looks like we're pretty much wrapping up here. Just gonna put a few more things away and I'll be able to hit the road. All right then, we've got the last coat on the green kitchen job. Went pretty well. We spent 2 half days getting the first coat on and 1 half day today getting the last 3 fast dry coats on. It's gonna look pretty sharp. It's fur, so it's a little softer, so they'll have to be just a little bit careful with it, but it's gonna be pretty good overall. It's gonna be pretty awesome. That job went pretty well, but like usual, time to go find another floor to sand. Hey, YouTube friends. Oh, God, that was so bad. Hey, friends, if you've made it this far, please consider subscribing to this channel so that I can keep making these stupid videos. Hey, YouTube friends, if you've made it this far, please consider subscribing because I am just gonna keep making this stuff and you should... At least we have some outtakes. I don't know if you guys heard this story. I just read about this. There was a woman that she actually beat her husband with a guitar. Well, apparently it's 2 guitars. She didn't really have any criminal background, so she went to the judge, and the judge said, "First offender?" She said, "No, first a Gibson and then offender."